Hello everybody, GameJacker here, and today we're going to be talking about Aimbots. What do they do? How do they work? Where can I get them? What are the risks involved? We're going to be covering all of that in this video. It's going to be the mega guide on Aimbots. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So aimbots are basically cheats, or rather game hacks, that allow you to lock onto a target and then either automatically shoot a target in a shooter or manually shoot them depending on how your aimbot is set up. Usually they come with an in-game menu that allows you to customize your cheat, your aimbot, and specify exactly what the aimbot should aim for, whether that be a headshot, a body shot, or some kind of automatic feature where it just shoots at whatever it has line of sight on that is easiest to shoot. There are also very new AI aimbots that do not directly interfere with the game memory or game files, and that are basically trained on actual player data in order to just look at the screen, recognize enemies, and then just play as a normal player would, except with all the learning capabilities that an AI has. Now, these cheats are possible in basically every single shooter out there, and it often goes hand in hand with wall hacks or ESP cheats that allow you to see through walls, see enemies, objects, and friendlies through walls, which are also extremely overpowered, making this cheat one of the most controversial out there because it gives you an extreme advantage in any kind of online or offline shooter, which is of course most problematic in online games where it can feel extremely unfair to play against someone using this cheat. But why is it that this cheat seems to be everywhere where shooters are, especially on Android and PC? Well, that is because the game, in order to display the game to you correctly, needs to know where all the enemies are, so that if you throw a grenade to the other side of the map, you are able to get a hit marker, you are able to know that you got a kill. So basically your game client, so your device that you're playing the game on, needs to know the coordinates of everybody on the map, because in theory there might be a way for you to hit them, and the game needs to be able to display without any latency all that information to you. So the way these work in very simple terms is that a game is, well, it's a coordinate system. So there's an x-axis, a y-axis, and a z-axis. So height, width, and depth, which is used to display the game to you. Any kind of object in the game will have these properties, and it keeps track of where you are on the map, where the enemy is, and then the aimbot is basically able to work out where you are in relation to an enemy, and then just check if you have line of sight on them, and then allows you to automatically aim in that direction by use of vectors. So a vector is simply a connecting line between 2 points on the coordinate system. So that is how they work. It's relatively simple, but of course very difficult to program, which is why most of these are paid subscriptions, and they are very rarely found for free. However, there are free ones out there, and you can find them at hackerbot.net. Just simply Google hackerbot or game hacks or game hack. Go to hackerbot.net and go to our game cheat search tool. There's an advanced version of that one for more options, and you'll be able to select more operating systems that you play on, and you're also able to select aimbot to search for legitimate aimbots from legitimate sources. Simply enter the name of your game above and search for cheats, and check if any free or paid aimbots are available for the game that you're looking to cheat in. Of course, I do not recommend for using aimbots. It's actually one of the few cheats that I recommend you do not use, simply because they are simply too powerful in my personal experience, and they do take the sense of achievement and fun out of every single game that I have used them on. And yes, I have personally used aimbots in a bunch of games. I think the first one I ever used it on was Battlefield 2. Most of you probably don't even remember that game. It's a very old one. And I just noticed that my sense of progression, my sense of achievement was simply evaporated when I was able to just simply get as many kills as I wanted and survive very easily by just killing everything that I had line of sight on. I just got killed by the occasional noob tube or the occasional grenade that someone just randomly threw, and I just randomly got hit by. While it might sound fun to dominate, and it is fun for the first few minutes, it just loses the novelty pretty quickly. So once you are able to get all the stuff you want easily, and especially in more modern games, you can unlock all the stuff you want pretty quickly if you're using this kind of cheat. It just loses its appeal. It's not very fun if you don't have to work for it. So yeah, that is also a general rule for life, is that the easier something is to get, the less worth it is to actually do. Because yeah, if you've been born with unlimited money, if your dad is, I don't know, Donald Trump or Elon Musk, then I guess it wouldn't be as rewarding to work a 9-to-5 job to make money, because you already have all the money in the world, so why would you do it? What's the sense in doing it? And the same thing applies to using aimbots. It takes, in my opinion and in my personal experience, the fun out of games, and not just for you, also for the people that you are up against. The only way I would still use this kind of cheat is if you are, for some reason, and in some games it still happens, in a very unfair situation where the other team is just very, very powerful. It happened back in the day, for example, in Battlefield 2. A lot of, pro players would just team up, go to the same team, and then just stomp the other team and, spawn camp them. That's one of those situations where the game is unfair because people have teamed up. So I think it would be morally justifiable to use an aimbot to even the odds a little bit in a situation like that. So if you are a white hat game cheater, that's the way I would use aimbots. If you are a black hat and if you just want to dominate people and just feel powerful, yeah, it's gonna do that for a while, but you're not going to feel very fulfilled. People will hate you. People will report you. You're probably going to get banned sooner or later, unless you're hiding your activity very well. So while it might sound a lot of fun, and it is for a few minutes, a few hours even, it loses its appeal pretty quickly. So that is my personal opinion on that. It's just not very fun for anybody if you're using this kind of cheat. Yeah, it is extremely powerful, of course, and we're going to go into some intricacies of aimbots here in a minute. There is a lot of options that these aimbots come with. Let's just have a look at the menu that you usually get with these. It looks something like this. So this is the menu that a lot of these aimbots come with, that allow you to customize your aimbot. You can customize things like, for example, your aim speed. So if you just switch from target to target in 10 milliseconds, that is very obvious for anybody watching you in game or watching a kill cam that you're using this kind of cheat. Usually these aimbots will come with options to hide your cheating activity, such as silent aim. Silent aim is where you can't see your character moving around at all. So you might shoot in one direction and hit someone in another direction, which is quite funny. There's also the rate of aiming that you can slow down. You can set delays for automatic shooting. It's called, the other thing is called silent aim. The trigger bot is the thing that automatically shoots. That is not necessarily something that aimbots have on by default, but that can be activated. There is limiters for aiming range and angle, so your aimbot will only aim in things that are 90 degrees in front of you, rather than spinning around in 10 milliseconds and shooting something behind you, which is of course very obvious, makes it very obvious for other players that you're using cheating software. There's also predictive aiming, that is for especially games where bullets do not travel instantly, so games that do not have instant projectile hits, that have projectile speeds, that do not have hit scan weapons. This is where the aimbot will try to calculate the movement trajectory of an object, a player, a vehicle, and then aim in such a way as to hit that object, assuming that it will maintain its current direction and speed. Again, a lot of vectors involved in those calculations, and that's actually pretty impressive programming that is being done in this kind of software, especially since you need to know the exact projectile speed in order to do that correctly, but a lot of them do that pretty well. So yeah, that is basically it. There's also more variants of aimbots, such as improved aim assist. So a lot of games these days, especially on mobile, have integrated aim assist in the game to make aiming easier on the more difficult to aim consoles, such as mobile phones, tablets, or even consoles, where your cursor will automatically lock onto a target if you're within a certain range of that target. Certain hacks will simply create an aimbot by increasing that auto aim range or that aim assist range, so that instead of switching to the target from, for example, here, it will start happening over here, which makes, of course, aiming a lot easier, and that is most powerful in Android and iOS mobile games, and that is also where it is most prevalent. Now, as to whether you should download this kind of cheat, I've already given my personal opinion on the morality of using it. Most of these aimbots will be paid subscriptions, and there are more reputable sources and less reputable ones. There are better quality software downloads and worse quality software downloads for auto aiming software. If you want to find the best free and paid ones, of course, head over to hackerbot.net. Simply go to your favorite search engine and Google HackerBot, or search rather for HackerBot. I, at this point, recommend you use a Brave search for anything to do with game cheating, as Google is currently full of spam and fakes and scams. So that might change in the future. You just do you. Go over to hackerbot.net, and there you will find our game cheat search tool, as I've already pointed out, where you can simply search for any kind of cheat for any kind of game that you want. Windows, iOS, Android, just go for Aimbot and then search for whatever game name you want. For example, Roblox. I think it has some game modes where shooters are a thing. And then you simply go for find cheats and you'll find legitimate ones. I'm not going to go into how to install these. As always, I do recommend, and please check out at hackerbot.net, our how to hack games guide. I do recommend that you always use a secondary device or a virtual machine to test your cheats before you use them, simply because the prevalence of malware and scams and fakes and other malicious software is very high in the game cheating industry. There's more fakes out there than real cheats and real hacks. If you go out to hackerbot.net and you scroll down, you will see that, for example, for Aimbots, there is about 7% legitimate ones and 93% fake ones, although most of that comes from mobile, because on mobile, basically 98% of all the downloads for mods are fake at this point. So on PC, this number is a little bit better. For consoles, it's almost impossible to get working aimbots, since, especially for the latest gen consoles, since you would actually have to find a way to run unsigned code on your latest gen console, which at this point, as far as I'm aware, for Xbox and PlayStation is not possible, because those consoles cannot be at this point emulated or hacked in any way to run unsigned code. So for those, I would recommend you simply switch to PC and do your cheating activity over there. So that is it about aimbots. I think I've covered all of the most important stuff. As for the legality, is it legal or illegal? It is legal in most countries, with the notable exception of South Korea, since you're only modifying data on your own client, on your own device. You are not doing anything that would be legally questionable. So do not worry about that unless you are located in South Korea, where that is more of a problem. And yeah, that is basically the legality side of it. If you want to know how to tell if somebody is using an aimbot, there are certain giveaway things that aimbot users do, such as, their aim snapping to a target very quickly, inhumanely quickly, and with inhumane accuracy. That is always a dead giveaway. Unnatural aiming movements, of course, if somebody moves their character in unnatural seeming ways, very jerkish movements, that is also giveaway. Only headshots is also kind of a dead giveaway unless you're dealing with a pro player. Shooting people as soon as they're visible within 10 milliseconds, also a giveaway. You can check all of those out at the link in description if you're interested and if you want to get better at reporting aimbots. In conclusion, I can say that I personally am opposed to the use of aimbots, but I do cover it because I know people want to use them, they want to know about them, they are popular. But I do urge people to use them, if they're going to use them, with respect for the game and for the other players that might not have as much fun as they might have if they're using this kind of software. I think it's not useful for the player themselves, and I always advocate for white hat game cheating, so only using them in situations where it's morally justifiable, at least. So if you are faced with an unfair situation in a game where people are teaming up, or they're using exploits, or someone on the other team is using game hacks, then you are, in my opinion, morally justified to use your aimbot superpowers to counter their immoral behavior. So I always advocate for that. It will also keep the game more fun, as you're going to be playing legitimately 90% of the time. And then when you're using them in a way that doesn't destroy your fun or affect other people's fun, but is actually helpful. Anyways, guys, that's it about aimbots. Go check out hackerbot.net for all your game cheating needs. The link for this article right here is going to be in the description below. You'll also find all the links to the tools you can use to find legitimate ones. But be warned, most of them will be paid. There's not going to be many free aimbots out there at this point. Thanks you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.